Monopoly.
I just want to shake some sense into you kids.
And so we shall, damn it. We're going to shake some sense into you kids.
Like a baby.
Oh, it's a hell of a weekend.
Yeah?
Yeah. Basically, I couldn't get off my ass to do anything this weekend.
Hey, that sounds pretty nice, actually.
I meant to work on the map. I meant to, work on your guys' characters, and then I meant to do anything but what I did, which was nothing.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes that's just all you can do.
Yeah, that's where you get stuck,
Mm.
You're just like, bah. Oh, God.
Hey,
Yeah?
I can't remember.
I was just looking at Roll20 because I went to close the tab, and I was like, what was I doing on this? I was making something.
You'll close the tab, and then you'll remember.
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah, that's how it usually goes.
No, everybody's having a good week, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, productive is for Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Productive for Monday.
Yeah, produced 1,000 words or so that's decent.
There you go. Yeah, I had to get off my butt and, do some Monday writing.
Very cool.
Something anyway, besides, just sit there staring at myself. And what about chat? Anybody in chat do anything special?
I actually wrote a little bit today. I'm very proud of me.
Yes.
What'd you write?
We have a term that we call getting an essay idea, which is you just get that spark of, I have to put this on paper, like right this second. And, of course it always happens like when you just wake up and you're half asleep. For Ishi's superhero story,
you're kind of helping me with it.
Yeah, but it's still your story. I had this idea of the loser brigade kids all sitting in their clubhouse whining about how the grown-ups don't understand us. They gotta check their privilege. Fuck them. And I just had this whole scene in my head, so I had to get that out.
It was pretty spot on, to be honest with you.
They just don't understand us. Nobody understands you, you little retarded monkey.
Well, the previous scene had been the character, the intersectionalist, getting her ass beat by Sparta. So she's talking about how this woman needs to check her privilege. Who does she think she is doing that to her? And that goes into the whole question of, it's like, well, is she even a woman still? What does that mean? Maybe we need to ask her pronouns, and this is all just a big misunderstanding.
It's all a big misunderstanding.
Yeah, and just pulling out all that gender shit.
I don't know. I don't think any of this is going to make sense unless he listened to last night's show, which I really doubt he did.
No.
Okay.
Last night I kind of, laid around and did nothing.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I should be doing that, of course, I'm not, because blah.
I'll have you know, it's really, really hard for me to not hop online and buy myself a bestiary.
Fiona, jump on in.
It's like, I want to look stuff up.
Come on down, Fiona.
As long as you don't do, as long as you don't do the thing of, hey, those powers aren't what that monster has, you'll be fine with me. It's the minute you do that.
Hey, no, I am a firm believer in the GM is God. If the GM says that eggs start raining from the sky, then that's what happened. you know,
I've had people argue because one of the things that you do is you adjust. You might be like, okay, I'm going to take away the monsters this and add that because it's the same modifier in the monster creation rules. And then somebody goes, that's not their power, and you're like, oh my god.
Wolf, do any of us sound like we have the energy to compete with Wolf? I don't think any of us can compete with the Wolfman right now.
Yeah.
But no, the only time I've ever challenged a GM on stuff like that is when it was very, very obvious they were being a dick. And it's like,
That's
no,
a little different.
you're just trying to kill us at this point. Why should I even bother? Otherwise, yeah, I don't care. If that's what the GM wants, that's what the GM wants. It's your world. You can do what you want.
That's a little different, though, You are deliberately out to kill us. Well, what makes you say that? Because we fought 14 demons in the last 2 sessions. And they've all jumped us out of the blue.
Like, because we suied through your monsters. I saw the look on your face. I saw you immediately flip through the monster manual and go, suddenly, a rock giant jumps out at you. It's like, from where?
we are in a 30 by 30 room. Yeah, those are the old famous.
I figured this avatar would work because this is what my brain feels like after retail.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, you did. Besides, the Star Child still sucks. Fuck you, Mass Effect 3.
Oh, God. Mass Effect 3.
I was so mad.
I shot that kid for like 45 minutes straight, before they patched things to be the refusal ending. Fuck you, BioWare.
Ugh.
Guess what? Greedfall. Man, Spiders is my new BioWare now. They actually put in characters you can like.
What game?
Greedfall.
Greedfall. Okay. Oh yeah, you'd mentioned that.
Yes, it's Spiders hit their stride with their combat system in that one. You can take out kind of like weird ass looking like Cthulhu meets steampunk monsters with a blunderbuss. Kaboom!
Okay, so since we got Fiona on, have you read Raltz's books?
I basically got book 1 done, and I haven't yet to start number 2 because I'm also behind like 5 or 6 other books of other people that I said I would read and then review things.
That's fine.
Oh God, the mad woman laugh. Florida woman is with us.
But no, it's because I wish I could clone myself 1,000 times so I could buy a copy of each book that I like and help people out.
There we go. There's the sound.
Well, the reason I asked if you'd read it is because you being so much into the pulps and into humanity, fuck yeah, I think you were actually the person that mentioned Raltz to us first.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because I was like, wait, humans are the apex and they're fighting other monsters and punching them in the face? Other apex monsters? What?
So since you were the one that I think first made us aware of Raltz, I was kind of wondering what you thought of the book.
I definitely enjoyed it. I like the fact that it starts out like these little kind of like side stories where you don't really have to get invested in the characters, but you're heavily invested in the little mysteries that it's building up to. Because guys, I gotta be honest, like I'm the type of reader where I don't get invested in people's characters first. I get invested in the mysteries and the little hooks you put in first. And then I get invested with characters by the actions they take, like good boys that do a great job. Good doggos,
Good
all
dogs.
of them. And the therapy robot kittens. And it's like, you know what? Cats can do that sometimes if they're not being aloof.
Fido's a good boy.
Fido is a good boy.
Is.
Yes, robo dogs are best boys, but no, probably the part that made me laugh the most was the poor space station or like the way station that was on probation because he was being a bad AI.
Hey, now AI is a racial slur. It's digital sentience.
Wow.
That's been a constant one.
But no, I especially like again the little girl that was augmented to where she could take like energy from gas giants, and she's like, "I'm from Burgerland."
I'm from the Hamburger Kingdom.
I'm like, I know what that is, but it's just like, oh god, the fact that they react to Earthlings like they're like this big old mystery is just a lot of fun. Because a lot of times, a lot of sci-fi will go like humanity is the underdog. So I'm like,
Well,
okay, this is a different foot. Yay!
you can only be the underdog for so long before you learn how to kick everybody's fucking teeth in.
Yeah, it is a good thing they know how to kick some teeth in because some of the other how you say sapiens around the Milky Way were like, oh my god, what is this?
Oh, we were talking about that during the game where it's like everybody makes the prime miscalculation. Oh, look, it's an ape playing with something sparkly. I'll run up and kick it in the head. Surely it will work for me because I'm the chosen one.
Oh god, but yeah, there's just so many books out there where it's like, oh great, humanity's killing humanity again. If I want to see that, I just gotta turn on the news.
Yeah. I mean, does it happen in that setting? Oh yeah, all the damn time. Oh great, there go the humans again.
Yep. But honestly, at least it's going in a direction where it's like we're going out into the great frontier. Sure, there's some scary shit out there, but we can be just as scary in some ways.
And the Trinaud will ride their 28.38% victory rate over the Terrans till the heat death of the universe.
Oh boy.
Because they're like, can anybody else match that? Can anybody else match half that? No? Then shut up, suckers.
Oh, to be honest, sometimes there's certain factions in the Harrington universe that think they can beat the peeps and the Manticorans at the same. Like, no, you can't. You guys were languishing in obscurity while those two sides were basically sharpening each other on tech, and then like, of course they're gonna fucking kick your ass later. Even though I'm not much for tech dumps, as long as you can. How do you say it? Like, you can. Like Saitama says, so many words or less. It's like, especially
10 words or less.
For tech dumps, it's like I know some people love their nuts and bolts, but my eyes glaze over when it takes about 10 pages to describe. Like, I love you, Mr. Weber, but oh my god, I didn't want to know how that missile worked. I just want to know the Dakas, please.
Oh god, and he'll tell you how that same missile works 5 times in the book.
Yep.
Oh dear God.
See, early Weber books had a little bit more editing to them to where he wouldn't go into tech spirals, but he still does character pieces really well. So I'm like, okay, it's like, oh, I'll just skim over the tech stuff that I'm not interested in and be like, okay, yes, I get it. The Manticorans have another fun angle for all the war champions out there that you want to know the kind of tactics that are happening. It's there for you. Me, I just want to see the heroes blow up the bad guys.
I think the last one I read for that one was, oh god, it was after the Solarian League attacked.
Sphinx?
Yeah, I think no, maybe Sphinx. I don't know. It was after the Solarian League first tried to come through the wormhole and got their asses blown to shit.
Oh god, was that the Shadow side series? It might have been, because he has a lot of side series with people.
No, it was the main. It was the main books. It was after they got peace with the Republic, and then the
Onion people.
The Onion people attacked.
Yeah, it was because they're like a subsect that was controlling the Solarian League and everybody else.
Yeah.
It's like and that Victor guy was trying to figure out where they were coming from.
Yeah, he got back, and then the Solarian League tried to attack one of the allies, and that mind control. The mind control shit came up again, where they launched on a task force that outnumbered them 4-1.
Yeah,
and got blown apart. And I didn't read after that because.
Oh no, I get it, because it took them forever to move past that certain plot point. Like, people were waiting, and it's just like, please, for the love of God, move the star date forward. And it's like I get it, but also that's the reason why I like keeping my. I've noticed even with my own books right now that I got on the blog, like most of them are clocking in about 250 pages. Like I don't mind having the initial build up, but it's like chop chop chop. I'm the type of reader where it's like I got thousands of other things to do because paying bills.
I finished my books clock in at about 128 to 142K, somewhere in there.
Yeah, but you have quicker chapters.
I actually found out that the optimal chapter length is between 2,000 words and 3,200 words because it lets somebody read it on their 15-minute break.
Yep. Yeah, and that's primarily what I've been doing with a lot of stuff, except in my case.
That's not a bad.
Yeah, I've been sneaking off to the side every once in a while. I read 2 or 3 pages at a time, then go back to work. My shift supervisors are okay with this because they know I do my job. And if I need to decompress for a moment while I'm in the hellscape called retail, like, yep. Yeah.
Oh, retail, the funnest jobs I ever had. Walmart and
Lordy.
Circuit City.
Oh, Lordy.
Oh dear God.
And Circuit City has died essentially.
Yeah, I worked there right before they died out. Yeah, I quit when I caught my shift supervisor going through and taking everybody's sales and putting his number on them.
Oh, dick.
Yeah, and then he had the balls to tell me, because I was like, I don't know what you're bitching at me for. I moved 5 times as much stuff out of the store as any 2 people combined. And he was like, well, I could train a monkey to sell people stuff. I need you to push the credit cards and the insurance plans.
Man,
nobody wants those.
Oh God.
Yeah, nobody wants those things.
Man.
And the whole reason I checked is because the National Guard unit was deploying to Afghanistan and they needed new laptops and they got permission to come in and buy them from Circuit City. And they asked, hey, if this thing gets shot by a bullet and we're in Afghanistan, does your replacement plan cover it? And I was like, well, let me check. I ended up calling up the corporate, found out it did. So they came back later that afternoon and bought 300 laptops, all with the insurance plans. And I went to check my sales numbers. I was like, what the fuck? Why does this have his ID on it and not mine?
Oh.
And he was like, well, it's not like you care anyway.
Bitch.
Like,
A bitch.
Excuse me?
Excuse me, bitch.
That's when you hurt. That's when you smack a bitch.
Yes.
He got caught stealing money out of the till. That was the funny part. He's a supervisor, and he got caught stealing $20 bills out of the till.
Wow. Karma will smack your ass into orbit.
He was one of those people that when he talked to like the 17 and 18-year-olds, he'd put one hand beside their head and lean forward. So they're backed up against the wall.
Oh, no. I hate those assholes. I had a teacher like that. He also tried to like break the kids' hands.
Oh, God.
Ruler?
No, with his own. He would say, give me your hand. And then he would crush it. And, the kid be on the ground in pain. And this is religion class where, we learn about the Bible. So,
wow.
Yeah, this teacher is a dick.
Oh, no. Honey Badger would be up in arms almost instantaneously with that shit. Nope. Oh, God. Retail. Wow.
I can't remember what you write, Fiona.
It's okay. Half the time I don't know where my brain's at, but yeah, it's up with protocol. It's on the blog. Yes, because you know what? Right now, I just want to have people check out to see where I'm going. I have my hell job to get me money right now, and I rather build momentum at the moment than be like, please give money.
Please give money.
Yeah.
You're only as good as the last book you put out. Isn't that right, Ishi?
No.
But no, really. So just to showcase that, even me, a hobbyist writer, wants to complete a series before I demand monies of people. And And besides, once I actually demand monies of people, I want to at least make it presentable enough to where it's like you will be glad to hand over some monies for some quiet and entertainment.
Well, there's a
Kind of
couple
quiet
schools of thought on
entertainment.
that. And one is, yes, write the whole thing first, then publish. They're the write it in installments point of view. And then there's the write one, see if it sells, and if it bombs, don't bother with the rest.
Which is a bad idea because then people will be like, wait, this guy quits after one book. Why should I buy any backlog he ever makes?
Oh, what's that one guy? Is it Chris Fox? That was his advice.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the same Chris Fox that does a lot of space fantasy stuff? Because I did start listening
Yeah.
to some of his tech mage setup.
Yeah,
Which is
that's
like,
his.
Yeah, that's
dragons in space trying to blow up spaceships. Yes, okay, this is good. I don't care for your real world logic, people. Like, because I still see fights, and sometimes I might poke in some of these fights where people want to make things more realistic than they have to be. It's like I read things to escape my world, not be reminded of it.
Oh, realism is overrated.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it is, fun to read something that's not in in space or, in castles or things like that. But, I don't need it to be like textbook accurate.
Look, if people wanted realism, women would not be buying Anita Blake.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
You know what? I think what gets some of the writers, even if they do make a good amount of money, like that magical over six figures kind of money, they're still irked that a lot of that stuff makes even more money than they will make.
People are weird. Rather than being happy, I mean, if she came up tomorrow and was like, holy shit, I put out a book and it sold 5 million copies and I'm going to be on like TV and stuff, I'd be like, fucking good for you, man. But so many people seem like it lessens them. And I've never understood that.
People that when that shit happens to me, and I do mean this because in the past, the first thing I would do is help my friends.
Yeah.
And that was definitely something I did when I was with Archaea.
Mm-hmm.
Is I went to most of my friends and said, okay, I'd like to showcase some of your stuff at the back of the book. And they got paid for it, by the way. And so I had fans do pinups and art and do their own little short stories. And the idea was to expose people to, okay, now they've got something in print too.
Mm-hmm.
If I ever become an eccentric, like billionaire or millionaire, I don't care which, I'm buying like 1,000 copies of like stuff I like and just going to hand it out to people. I don't care what they even end up doing with it. As long as I can tip the people I like really well that overlap with what I want, that's what I'm going to do.
I would hide under the bed for like 3 days. My wife would be like, are you coming out yet? No.
Oh, God.
The thing is, I guess, I'll if I ever get there, I'll tell you what it's like. But honestly, I don't know. Money isn't why I do it. So, I mean, if I made a lot of money, the only thing it would really mean to me is, okay, I don't have to worry about money.
Yes.
That's it. That's all it would mean to me.
Oh, and I did highlight a particular passage that did make me go at one point. Yorktown, do you read?
Oh, yeah.
Terra Soul, 30,000 BC.
Yorktown, do you read? That's still referenced.
See, the thing is, like most stories, I don't mind. Some people want their story in like a very linear fashion, but I've noticed this particular series, you like to go back and forth and skip around a bit.
Yes.
I don't mind that. I have that in Uplift Protocol and Spades, where it's just like, guys, you have to read the little stuff underneath to indicate which date I'm talking about, because here we go, the timey-wimey nonsense.
Yep,
Yay!
here we go for the time stuff. Oh God, none of you have hit the detainee, have you?
I don't think I have.
Oh, you'd know if you had. You remember her.
Samueli?
No, not Samuel, the detainee.
I was gonna go ahead.
She's from the 1950s. And loose in First Contact. She's she's an absolute nightmare.
No, I'm looking like, yeah, because I haven't even started book 2 yet. It's
Oh,
like
no,
I will eventually, but I also promised Mr. Niemeyer that I would finish Soul Cycle series to make commentary to give people more magical reviews. Ugh. God.
Well,
Yeah.
if you're going to do that, then you got to come on and review Soul Cycle. For us.
I have to reread Soul Cycle because I know I read it a while back, but I need to reread it again to refresh my memory since I'm going to go traveling through his books again. See, this is the reason why sometimes it's better to break up chapters like they're little serialized chunks, because sometimes that'll stand out to me a little bit more. Yeah.
But yeah, I want listeners to come on and review a book they've read, especially new stuff or stuff that's been people we've interviewed. No, what I was going to say is Samuel I. Olkey had written, people want the world outside our window to be in their stories. And I would say that they say that, Samuel I., but most of these people have no idea what's going on outside their window. You know, they live in their fucking phone. They have no idea what reality is.
Well, and the thing is, I honestly do believe, based on what I can see of the review ratings for a lot of lit RPG and things like that, the people nowadays, their new cozy reads is that stuff. Like where it's a guy or girl taken into a magical adventure to live out a life that they wouldn't be able to have on planet Earth, you know? It's just like, man, I bet everybody would love to be selling like bonkers like that, but it's just a different kind of like reading market in some cases.
Lit RPG seems to be an entire genre based on wish fulfillment.
And that
it's there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you're into.
Well, I think you need a story though.
Yes.
Some of them do have a centralized story to it, and those seem to do a bit better, but some of them are just there to be like the hero gets in and out of it's like different situations, but it's not really, there's nothing really a callback to it. It's just like one scenario and into the next, which could be part of the more like gaming aspect, but sometimes it's not really tied into each other. Like
Well,
not even in the serial fashion.
Like there's one series I believe called something like The God of Winning, and it's a guy gets sucked into a fantasy RPG, and he's the best at everything, and every story is him basically beating someone. It's like, really? That does it for you. You can actually do a multi-series on this that's selling.
A lot of people like that because the big thing now is a lot of people, they don't understand what it is, what they're feeling, and why they feel this way. And with everything going on in the world and all this big stuff happening, people feel helpless and people feel powerless, and they feel like they're not in control of their lives, and there's no way for little people like them to be in control of their lives. And so stuff where you get to be the guy, you get to be the guy who's in control. You don't have to be afraid of anybody because, in might makes right, you can still triumph, and you're better than everybody else. And I understand it. I really do, because the world is a scary damn place, and it's not getting any less scary, even though it should be. And they just like it because through the character, they can get the feeling of I'm in control. So I get it.
Oh, that's why I stopped watching the news, because the news is all about like, guess what you can't control today.
Well, that and a lot of it's tailored to scare you.
Or to make you think you can't control it,
I mean, because even when I was a kid, they used to do like little like uplifting stories where it's like, oh, today this community rebuilt that, or these Girl Scout troop donated to this, but news doesn't even cover any of that anymore.
The legacy media is dying, and the harder it dies, the more they're going to go further and further to the extreme to, watch this or it might kill you mentality. You must watch or you could die.
Well, they like scaring people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh,
And it's also the reason why I'm writing what I'm writing, because hardly anybody, they think a lot of people, a lot of writing setups nowadays think cathartic motivational type characters are the only way to go. It's like, no, there's a lot of different character types out there. They just don't experience the same kind of personal growth that cathartic motivational readers are looking for, or those writers. And so that's why I'll still see, stuff pop up on social media of like how to do certain things. But we need a variety in writing types. Uh, not everything is going to be a big blockbuster that'll get you six figures.
Yeah, that's the other thing is it's like with movies. Nobody wants to do anything unless it'll make $1 billion.
I'm just tired of these plots where like the fate of everything rests with one person. It's like, I'm tired of that shit. I really don't care. I'd rather have a story of, having it be personal, like somebody's kid gets kidnapped, or they're having their own existential crisis. I'd rather have something like that.
Well, yeah, you want more of like, even in superhero terms, you want a more street level character that handles the problems that are right in front of them rather than the big cosmic brouhaha, which I'm more of the big cosmic brouhaha, but I try to take my time to understand why other people want certain things. So that way I can better understand why I'm writing certain things.
Well, after World War I and after World War II, or during even, when the country was in a very bad place, detective fiction became very, very popular. And why? Because detectives find the truth. They don't take anyone's shit. They play by their own rules.
Yep. Now, I will point out once again the creation of my literary hero, Mickey Spillane's Mike Hammer. I mean,
Mike Hammer's great.
Yeah. Everybody asks, like, what was the biggest author that had the biggest influence on you? And I will always say Mickey Spillane, because he said something that I really, really like. What do you think about what all the critics say about your stuff? I don't read critics. I read royalty checks.
Nice.
There you go.
Well,
And,
another thing is I will say, and I know I'm one of those people that's obsessed with style.
Mhm.
I would have to say his style, holy crap, is it good?
Mhm.
I study
Yeah.
how he puts sentences together. They're so good.
I mean, what was it? He was asked who was it? Hemingway said that he was peanuts and popcorn, and what did they think of that? And he was like, well, everybody eats peanuts and popcorn, so
Oh, there you go.
compared to caviar.
Yep. No, I'd have to say probably my biggest influence is Narnia. I keep going back to C.S. Lewis, but he was honestly the biggest influence I had even when I was growing up, because my parents fed me a lot of the books they read as kids.
Good parents.
Mhm.
I read those when I was a teenager, which is pretty much where you should read those.
Man, because if left to the school, I wouldn't be reading anything at all. God, even back in my day, school selections for reading was they were how you say it, turgid, boring, listless, and it's like not enough to keep a kid's attention. I'm trying to remember what story did keep my attention when I was forced to read it, even though I hated it in the end. Where the red fern grows, because it's like, you killed the dogs.
Yeah,
Ah!
that was actually a standout book for things I was forced to read. It was like, okay, it went someplace I wasn't expecting.
Yeah,
Like,
and I don't think anybody expected that axe to the chest.
ah. Oh man, but other than that, I think the only other book I was forced to read in middle school or high school that I even vaguely remember was that Hatchet book.
Oh, the
Because
Hatchet. That was a good one. That was a
yeah,
good one.
so other than that, it's like, let's see, my parents let me get books like once a month. I'd get to pick out a book, and I was like, "Ooh, look, there's The Hobbit. Oh, look, there's Redwall. Oh, let's see, Boxcart Children. Some of the Scholastic Choose Your Own Adventure books were usually in there. God, what else did I read? Hardy Boys every once in a while. You know, and even though they keep saying, "Oh, you have to see yourself in your character," bitch, please. I was like, what are the Hardy Boys going to do next? Like, I didn't care if it was a girl or guy or whatever. Were they doing interesting actions that engaged me?
I don't want to see myself in these characters. If I wanted to see myself, I'd do an autobiography,
Why do I
I'm
want to?
reading other people for a reason.
Why do I want to read about a drunk? I know what drunks are like. Thanks.
Oh man.
No,
Oh.
I don't see. That's one thing I have. I'm gonna now get on my soapbox here. That is one thing that really pisses me off and also really bugs me is you get a lot of fiction now. You didn't get this so much before, but you get a lot of fiction now that is built specifically for self-inserts. And I know that the female mind in general, not everybody, but the female mind in general does need to have something it can relate to. That's how females function, is they find things that they can relate to each other with. That's why you always have them when they talk, it's like, "Oh, I totally understand, honey. I have the same problem too." They'll constantly do that or constantly try to reaffirm that they understand you. So you need to have something for your female audience to map themselves onto. Most books coming out now, they're on like the New York Times bestseller list, are nothing but self-inserts, for somebody somewhere to say, "I relate to this person," because that's apparently what publishers think readers want. It's like, not necessarily. And it legitimately bugs the shit out of me because you wind up with books filled with empty characters that mean nothing.
Yep, and they mean even less than what Professor Geek calls a cathartic motivational character. Yeah, they don't even have any motivation to do nothing.
I mean, like me personally, I think Mike Hammer is one of the biggest sons of bitches out there.
That's
But
why
you
we
know
like
what?
him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You read him because I read him because I don't like him. He's that much of a compelling character. It's like, wow, what's this asshole doing now?
He's such an asshole.
And that's the thing. It's easy to make a character that's likable. It's another to make him an asshole and to have your audience gobble it up.
Okay, here. The other turned me around into the light. You don't smell bad. That cut on his head didn't come from the fall either. Mugged? Maybe. I didn't care. I didn't give a damn what they called it. They were both wrong anyhow. 2 hours ago I was drunk. Not now. 2 hours ago I was roaring like a lion. Then the bottle sailed across the room. No lion left now. Fuck yeah!
That's my camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell by the tone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the other thing. It is there's no style anymore, and in general, I'm talking, the mainstream shit. There's no style.
Well, it's because just how like recently, there was the whole kerfuffle with indies versus how you should like market yourself and everything. Sometimes, yes, okay, 100%. Everybody would love to get 100K or more a year in writing if they even attempt one book, but it's not going to happen that way. I'll just be happy to make whatever money I eventually make from my backlog, but God, so many people have such a right to market or kind of brand effect on their mindset that there's a fair amount of readers that are just getting left out in the cold because they don't want somebody's take on big brand X. They just want somebody to mishmash something together that might overlap enough of what they're interested in.
Yeah.
Because
Got another one. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you're looking for big brand X, then what's to prevent the person from being like, I shouldn't read this book. I'm just going to go back to big brand X. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one that's just, again, pure Mike Hammer. You used to look a lot bigger to me, Mike. Once I couldn't have taken you, but now you calling me things like that? I'll belt you silly. You son of a bitch, I said. I saw it coming, but couldn't move. A blurred white open-handed smack that took me right off my feet and out of my chair and left me sprawled in a lump against the wall. There was no pain in it, just a taut sickness in my belly that turned into a wrenching dry heave that tasted like blood inside my mouth. It's just like, fuck yeah.
It's
So he got
ass kicking time.
So basically, he got bitch slapped into another dimension.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's tied to the chair in that one. Which book is that from?
The Girl Hunters.
I don't think I've read that one. How the hell did I miss that one? That must be one of the ones.
So many.
It must be one of the ones he wrote after 1990.
Probably.
Because damn, he was writing up. I know he was writing to at least 2008.
Yeah, he wrote up to his death.
Which is awesome.
And he was like, "Ha ha, royalty check, printer go burr."
But I still like the caveman dialogue. You say hook hook, now no have spears. Now have spear and leg. You stupid.
Yeah.
Military intelligence.
Yeah.
Look, everybody, honestly, even simple archetypes can be fun. Just because a character doesn't change over the course of a story fundamentally doesn't mean they're boring. It just means that kind of character will appeal to a different reader. Cough, me, cough.
Well, no, some characters need to remain rock solid and impenetrable and never change for the story to function. That is the basis for Judge Dredd.
Mm-hmm.
If Judge Dredd were to change, the story falls apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And they should fucking know that about Superman too.
And that's my main contention with a lot of the Snyderverse people that absolutely adore what Snyder did. And it's just like, guys, not every character needs a cathartic kind of change to them. And Paragons, no. You have to make them rock solid for a reason.
Right.
Solomon Kane. I loved Solomon Kane. I loved the pulp as some of the some of the Solomon Kane stuff was being printed in the big gigantic 15 by 12 black and white Conan books in the early 90s. I know that, and they were always great. I mean, I could introduce a Solomon Kane character into almost character into anything, and everybody would like him.
Well, he's just an amazing character, and almost every clone of him that I've come across, I've absolutely adored, like Vampire Hunter D.
And the thing is, Solomon Kane's character type is a very binary thinker. Like there's something that's obviously good and something that's obviously evil, and he does not fudge on anything. Like if you've done wrong, you are doomed.
Solomon Kane deals out Old Testament justice. It's not even in question.
In Solomon Kane's world, evil is real. It's a physical thing.
Mm-hmm. He runs into it every day. People do every day.
Daniel Montgomery asks you a question. Wait, you know what? Before we get to that, Raltz, Tim Cook wants to know how he can get signed books from you.
I'm actually considering my real life wife, my online wife is trying to lure me out from under the bed on this. We're talking about later this summer, whenever I had to replace my daughter's furnace, so my finances are just screwed. But we're talking about buying about 20 to 30 books and then figuring out how to find out who wants signed copies and do them in like 30 book batches. So I don't know how I'd even do that.
Well,
you know what?
We'll chat later about how to set up a shop. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can help you out with that, and I also have some ideas. So yeah.
Okay, so Daniel Montgomery has a question for you.
Kat, do you want to talk about the emergence of male romance and an underserved niche that was squashed by the publishing industry. I would love to talk about the emergence of male romance, because you're absolutely right. It is an underserved niche, and it does make me happy to see that that is a growing market. And it's not getting any press because, well, men don't need to be catered to, fuck that. It's like no, they do.
Oh wait, what is a male romance? He finds the woman of his dreams, hot, sexy, reliable, straightforward, honest, and fun.
Well,
and loyal.
If you think about it, Bastard of the Apocalypse kind of comes under that heading.
Oh, or he just keeps getting hooked up with women who are fucked up.
That are fucked up, but he's not just banging every hole he comes across. I mean,
I feel personally attacked.
Why?
No, I'm joking. Not banging every hole.
That has a place too. But no, in Bastard of the Apocalypse, he bangs like 3 women, but it's he's a person. And they're not just holes for him to fuck. They're people, and all of them have consequences to it. And I thought that was very compelling. And I think Ishii got more out of that book than I did. So
yeah, I really liked the way it was written too.
Mhm.
I mean, the style again grabbed me. It was one of the I hadn't read a book with actual style to it in ages.
And no, I mean, like, actually, I totally applaud what it had, and I want more books like that out there. It was actually, I had issues with the book, but in general, we need more books like that out there, especially books that one of the rare times you'll hear me say this, I as a female can recognize it's not written for me. We need more books like that.
It was men's adventure fiction,
Yeah.
unapologetically so.
We need more books like that.
I mean, we need more. We need more books like lovely John Carter of Barsoom that isn't polluted by, like, yes, I know, I read that book that examined the John Carter movie that Disney greenlit, and the director, yes, he enjoyed the source material, but his first encounter with that material was the 70s comic book of John Carter. So he had to give John Carter a stupid cathartic motivational arc of a dead wife and child. I'm like, no. Like, and Made for Modern Audiences also poisoned it. I'm like, oh God.
One thing that a lot of these people don't get is men don't have to have a reason to walk through the forest and climb up that hill. We really don't.
No.
I mean, fuck it. Maybe I just want to do that afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the new writers don't get it that, you don't have to give me some deep-seated motivation that the mountain killed the guy's wife. I mean, it's a mountain. Why not climb up it?
A man doesn't need to be motivated to get inside a tiny can and sit on top of the controlled explosion to go into orbit.
I mean, if any of these so-called modern writers had even seen an episode of Jackass, no.
Yeah.
Most of the time, men don't. They just like, I want to do the thing. Grog gonna do the thing. Yay, Grog did the thing. Yay.
That is something I did notice a lot when you talk to feminists. It says, we were never given permission. It's like, you think guys were? The guys just went and did it.
Why do you need permission? I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead.
We were never given permission. Look, I get it that daddy didn't hug you enough or they hugged you too much, but you don't need permission for everything.
No.
Oh man, and at work a few days ago, I saw a guy that was so whipped by his hippopotamus of a wife that she told him, "Oh dear, go over to the cashier and you can ask her." I'm like, "What the hell?" Oh my god. Oh my god, no, dude, no.
It used to be an old joke we had about this dude that, when he got his paycheck, his wife would give him permission to jerk off in the sink when he handed it over. See a lot of that nowadays.
You know what? I actually wrote an essay about a decade ago on how much it legitimately pissed me off anytime I'd hear guys say, well, my wife, lets me have one room in the house for my geek stuff. My wife lets me buy
No.
buy comic books, and it's like, dude, just chop your nuts off right now and hand them over, because that's just pathetic. You're a grown man. Your wife shouldn't let you. You're an adult. You can have discussions on budget. That's being responsible. But if your wife is controlling that much of your life that you can't enjoy the things that you love, then fuck her.
Plus, it implies that your marriage isn't teamwork to make the dream work. It's a slave relationship.
And I get it. There are some people where they like that, and hey, to each their own. But most of the people I've run into, it's just, no, that's unhealthy and that's fucked up, and I can't respect you.
I can't respect you.
Yeah, and
No, I can't.
honestly,
I can't respect that shit, and I especially am not going to respect your wife for being that much of a cunt and thinking that she can control your life that way. Like, both of you are very unhealthy people, and you need to fucking grow up.
That's why I keep asking you to revisit that series of articles and do episodes on them together. I know that you say, no, I don't want to get off work and get pissed off.
Well, you know what? Okay, I'm going to say this now. I'm glad that you brought that up. I think I'm in a headspace now where I can do it, because before, when I was working with victims of crime, it's like, no, I don't want to be pissed off anymore, please.
But yeah, your commentaries, I mean, I edited them for you, so I
Mhm.
remember them. They were excellent, and a lot of them, and I do mean a lot of them, were either about speaking directly to real girls who really did like comics being pushed around,
Mhm.
or speaking to men and debunking all the shit feminists were telling them.
Mhm.
yeah, I could tell you this much. Even as a kid, going into like, I think, what was it? But more like teenage years, because there's times where comics were still on spin racks in grocery stores when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But
remember
the
those.
handful of times that, even when in middle school and high school, that I did go into a comic book shop, the guy was more than excited to be like, "Oh, what do you like? Maybe I can point you in a direction." And they wouldn't point me to like the whole poisoned adults, adult themed comics or anything like that. They would legitimately have comics that kids could pick up and read no problem. Because nowadays everybody wants to make a comic book for adults, and usually they equate that into X or R-rated material that's overflowing from every page.
Okay, you're gonna laugh, Fiona. You know, I have tried multiple times in both my prose and comics work to write something that's PG-13, and I always fail. I mean, I'm literally trying, and I always fail.
Oh, no, I will have a PG rated series with the Felstaff Mysteries thing that I outlined, but you can do R-rated stuff without being gratuitous.
Oh yeah.
A
Well,
lot
you've
of
read my
people,
work.
yeah, and the thing is, heck, even Upload Protocol has some moments where I asked readers, like, what would you rate this if it was like, in a movie rating system? One person did say PG-13, but most people were saying R because of the curse jar joke, and because I do make the cosmic horrors pretty creepy. So
Well, they should be.
yeah, so
If they're not, you're not doing your job.
but that's the kind of mishmash I wanted, but I didn't want to be gratuitous about it, where that's what most people are leaning into when they go R-rated or X-rated nowadays. They just want to be shock value for shock value's sake.
Well, I mean, let's take a look at adult comics. I backed and I do enjoy a comic called Weapon Brown, and it's an adult version of the Peanuts. And every other adult version you've seen of Charlie Brown, everybody's on smack, and everybody,
Yeah.
But Weapon Brown had a story arc, a plot, and character progression, and it was post-apocalyptic, and I really liked it. I thought it was good. And some people are like, oh, it's just they have all these excuses, but I thought it was good because Chuck had himself an arc, and it was interesting, and it had plenty of callbacks, and you know, and you don't have to have you don't have to debase everybody in order to make an adult version of a comic, and that's that's where Velma failed. Is it debased everybody,
Yeah.
and instead of being adult and tackling adult themes, it was just I decided Fred's a terrible person, and we're gonna make an adult by making Velma swear and be a insufferable asshole.
Even shit like Game of Thrones is just shock value for shock value, and everybody's an insufferable asshole for the most part. And the one decent guy that I was rooting for dies at the end of the first book. It's like, but that's what you can expect out of someone like George R.R. Martin, who he is probably going to die before he ever finishes his series. He really is. He's
Yeah, that's without question.
dude is going to flatline and like, woo boy.
I just wanted you to see that.
Oh, okay.
Oh man.
Weapon Brown, a man alone in the wasteland, only kept warm by his memory of the red-headed girl.
That and his anger.
Oh my,
Wow.
okay, that is pretty good, but I guess the biggest contention I have with everybody who does enjoy Snyder, it's like you don't have to get rid of the more childlike wonder elements of superheroes all the time. Seriously, not everything should be made for adults that are cynical as hell if it doesn't have a certain level of realism in it. It's like, seriously.
Realism is overrated, and realism is actually depending on the circles you run in. I mean, for a period of time, I ran in circles that if you're looking back on it, it doesn't seem realistic. And I have friends that are in, that they've got lives. I talk to them, they mail me now and then, and their lives are like, what the fuck are you into, man? And the realism everybody wants, they're like, oh, it needs to be realistic. You need to have 14 chapters of her getting up and sitting at the coffee shop and wasting her life and doing nothing so that it feels relatable to women. It's like, no. Real women go out and do shit. Real women solve problems, or at least identify problems and apply their thinky goo. This shit of a real woman sits in the latte shop bitching to her friends. That's Sex in the City. That's when that's Sex in the City. It's not even Friends, because in Friends, those women had problems and either had their friends help them or they solved them themselves. I mean, yeah, Phoebe stabbed a cop, but he stabbed her first.
Well, the thing is, and women aren't in vent mode 24/7. Like, I have my bursts of venting, but I don't try to stay in that mode because that's tiring.
Yeah.
Somebody
said, if you can relate to Superman, then you're not reading Superman. I can relate to him. I grew up. Part of my life, I was on a farm, and part of my life was where loyalty and what's that called? When people can count on you. Was trustworthy, and well, not that, because integrity was important to the people around me. I can identify with him. I mean, so I can identify with him, but I don't identify with being a superhuman that can tank a nuke to the face.
And that's unfortunately what the Snyder stuff was trying to do. It was trying to debase Superman to a near human level. That's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to inspire people to be more virtuous.
I was stronger than a lot of people. I could, bench press some serious weight, and I had to be careful because, let's not, I grabbed somebody, to yank them back because they almost stepped into traffic, and I grabbed her arm and just yanked her back, and I left a handprint bruise on her arm. But which meant I had to be careful. Integrity. Let's see.
But yeah, I don't know. I think really when they start complaining about this stuff, what they're really saying is they don't understand having a moral compass.
Or they don't want to understand.
They can't relate to a moral compass.
A lot of these people, their moral compass shifts on what they think will not get them in trouble and will make them popular and make everybody like them.
Yeah, and everybody, I understand that kind of submarine mode thinking, because I was like that for a little while, because everybody's like, oh, you should like this. And it's just like, no.
Explain submarine mode thinking.
it's like where you're hiding what you really feel because you want to be
Oh.
part of the bigger conversation or bigger in group of they like this thing. So if I don't like this thing, then I would be the weirdo. It's like, but don't do that. Be blunt about what you like, because the more blunt you are and the more straightforward you are about the themes or characters or whatever else other kind of settings you like, you'll get other like-minded people paying attention.
Okay, maybe I'm full of shit, but granted, it's been a while since I was younger, so that seems more of a female thing than a male thing. I mean, in my youth, most guys didn't give a flying fuck if you like what they like.
Well, there's so many men are feminized now.
Yeah.
To you want to get along. You don't want to have any opinions that other people might feel, might not like. And,
no, but you gotta untrain yourself from that.
Yeah.
Even women should untrain themselves a bit from that. If you're more blunt about what you genuinely like, you will find other like-minded people that overlap a bit more.
Oh yeah.
And that way you can create more things that you enjoy.
Well, I have longtime friends that are politically different than me, and I don't want to surround myself with friends that are exactly like me because I'm an annoying fucker.
Oh no, I still follow people that have completely different opinions on things than me, so I don't stay, within a certain sphere all the time.
Mm-hmm. You don't want the echo chamber.
Yep. And even people with different tastes in books. So that way it'd be like, okay, I'm reading a sample of this. This is knocking me out of the story. Okay, I'll know not to really put this kind of element in my own books because me personally, I don't like it. But yeah, if you're not more blunt with what you like, then how are people supposed to know what you really stand for?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. I definitely became a lot happier and started getting cool friends like all of you once my field of fucks was overplowed. Like it is completely barren. I have no fucks to give. Screw it. Yes, I probably hold my tongue and don't talk more than I should, but it's not for fear. It's more weighing how the pros and cons of, do I really want to get into that argument right now?
Yeah, I can understand just like, I don't even want to deal with these fuckers, whatever.
Yeah.
Don't bother me.
And the thing is, like, yeah, eventually you see enough conversations on social sites where it's like we're going over the same talking points again. You're never going to convince me as an older style Paragon Superman fan that Snyder is worth anything. Nope, it's not going to happen. He's so far away from my cuppa that I want to throw him into the sun. Okay?
No. You're not going to convince me that Snyder's Superman is Superman.
No.
Nope. Snyder's version of Superman would work if it would work if it wasn't actually being called Superman. Okay?
I'm gonna say something that's gonna be wildly unpopular here. The beginning of the movie Man of Steel, where he's wandering around the U.S. with a backpack like he's fucking Bruce Banner. I could have watched a whole movie at that, where at the very end he realizes that he can't hide anymore. He needs to come out in the open and be Superman. And he gets a job at the Daily Planet. I could have lived with an entire 90-minute to 2-hour movie of Super Hobo.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
though.
That is interesting because it's character development. It's a story.
Because I mean, let's face it, the part where he's his shirt's burning off and he's on the oil rig is the most exciting scene that character is in.
Yeah. But honestly, it's because I think a fair amount of people want their stuff to be more like Watchmen. And no, it's like shove Snyder in a hole with Watchmen. It's like he seems to love doing Watchmen type characters. Keep him in that realm,
Well, Fiona, I think actually this comment here from Dominic Powell, will you read it?
Joe Kelly's "What's so funny about truth, justice, and the American way" for his Superman run is a rebuttal against Warren Ellis's The Authority.
Now, that's a great point because Watchmen, all these deconstructions that we're talking about, other than Frank Miller, and even then Frank Miller's Dark Knight, he was still a hero. But all these deconstructions, by and large, came from cynical Brits shitting on American exceptionalism.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. All of these deconstructions of superheroes were cynical Brits who took a dump on American exceptionalism and the whole concept of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Everything's a lie. Everyone's fake. Everyone's corrupt. Those all came from Brits.
Boy.
I'll tell you what startles some is I've had Brits, when I was working RPGs, I had a couple British guys I worked with come over to the U.S. and they were startled by something that with Americans, by and large, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If he's an asshole, he's not going to stop being an asshole. He's going to be why are you friends with him? Well, he's an asshole. Well, yeah, why are you friends with him? Because he's an asshole. But when I need something, he's right there. When I was at work and my wife called and said, "Hey, my kid fell out of the tree and broke his arm. Can you run me to the ER?" He dropped everything he was doing and got in his shitty pickup truck and picked up my wife and took my kid to the ER. He's an asshole, but he's my friend. And Brits are like, but he's an asshole. Well, yeah.
There's a difference between a good person and a nice person.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice
it's one thing
people
to be an
usually aren't
asshole.
good.
It's one thing to be an asshole. It's another thing to be a shitty person.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You can be a terrible person and still be, decent where people want to be around you as long as you're not a shitty person.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think the biggest disconnect between old style Paragon people like myself and the new Snyder way of thinking is the whole idea like, oh, my superheroes kill. It's like, okay, and what's a different take? Like it's another angle of made for adults.
Well,
It's like,
it shows their mentality. To them, human
Mhm.
life has no value if they're on the bad side. And the other thing is
Blake.
if they had superpowers like that, they'd abuse them.
Yes.
You see, with that said, that just reminded me of a creator that we knew named Blake, who he talked about how his idea
Blake Libel.
Blake Libel, and his idea of the perfect superhero was
The psychopomp.
was that his name?
Yeah.
Oh dear God. And basically the dude he'd go to like Africa where you have all of these enslavement camps filled with children in the diamond mines, and he wants to free them. So of course his way of doing so is to nuke every motherfucker on there, including all the children, because that will punish the guilty. Blake locked his girlfriend in a room for 3 days and tortured the shit out of her till she was dead. He's now in prison.
Pregnant.
Yeah, she was pregnant. I forgot about that.
Jesus. You want to know the funny thing is I'm going to give a shout out to a comic book. It's pretty much cheesecake, but it's Girl Power, GRRL Power.
Mhm.
And he has this villain called Deus. And this villain probably has the most master plan ever. And he even admits he's a villain. He admits he's a super villain. But his master plan was to take over several African nations and lift up their infrastructure and lift up their standard of living and provide them with manufacturing jobs and education. And that's his master plan, because he's going to take over the world. But he's going to do it by introducing American exceptionalism, not hobbled by so much constraints. And he's kind of a compelling supervillain because he may be a jerk ass, but everybody that's in his nations are like, oh, we love him, he's amazing, my children are safe, they can go to school without things happening, and he got rid of the warlords and nobody's running around destroying everything, which gives the heroes if we stop him, well, shit.
man. Oh.
Then are we the assholes?
Yeah. Everybody goes, why doesn't he kill Lex Luthor? Well, number one, human life is precious. Some people need the iron nailed boot driven into their skull, but Lex Luthor's complex. The old Lex Luthor was a lot more complex than the new one. The new one's just kind of evil
I liked
for
the
evil's
old
sake.
Lex. Old Lex was one of my favorites.
But one thing they used to say is Lex didn't have a problem with the rest of humanity. Lex had a problem with humanity viewing Superman as God.
Mm-hmm.
As a godlike figure. That's
I
where
think
his
you're gonna
problem
like
was.
what I'm working on.
I mean, and you see that because these people are like, well, why doesn't Batman just kill the Joker? Okay, well, I'll say in real life, the Joker would have gotten the chair and I'd be happy to put a nail gun against the back of his head. But when you look at it, the Joker, compared to the rest of the threats in the DC universe, he's some street performer who once in a while shanks somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the cosmic level threats that that's another thing. Like why DC? Why did you? both the big Dead 2 companies just tried to merge and become like each other, but forgot why they separated. You know, why their various writers separated to go on a different path.
DC was always a little grittier, and
Mm-hmm.
Marvel was a little bit more. The sun causes mutations that let you shoot laser beams out your ass. LOL.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Marvel was a little more soap opera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, the older DC stuff was more optimistic, though, too. Like, there was a little bit more cynicism in Marvel, you know, especially as time grew on. But now both of them are just cynicism, self-insert.
Yeah.
And even the cynicism is this more disgusting nihilism. I can't, and you see it a lot in movies and books and TV, and it's just, you know what? I got tired of cynicism and nihilism in the 80s, and you're just reinventing it, and you're not even reinventing it with any kind of creativity. It's the exact same thing. I mean, it's like this thing. When I turn on a TV show, and the minute I see a military character appear more than 3 times, and there's some mystery that who's killing the townspeople,
Yeah.
I know automatically it's an evil military experiment. Dun dun dun, and then the end of the season review. It's secretly the U.S. military. Wow, how did I ever guess? And then you look at their motivations, and they never have motivations. It's like, oh, we did it because we could. All right,
Reasons.
Lex.
Well, the thing is, that's another aspect to like different kinds of settings. In certain kinds of settings, the villain doesn't really need certain motivations. They could just be pure evil bonkers.
Yeah.
But if you want to air quote tie it to our world realism, then yeah, like all these people snuffing their own farts are like, we gotta make it a sympathy villain and give it all sorts of complex motivations.
I never made Dee sympathetic. Dee is not a sympathetic character. She's a fucking amoral psychopath who'll stab you if you sneeze on her food. Literally. She will literally stab you in the throat if you sneeze on her food. That's
Kim
how much your
Jong-il
life
was
means
not
to
a
her.
complicated person.
Who?
Kim Jong-il was not a
No.
complicated person.
No. No.
Oh,
And,
God.
and I can't believe they tried to make Cruella into a sympathetic
Oh,
villain.
don't get me started
She
on
boils puppies.
Yes, exactly. I've had people are like, "Oh, she's wonderful," and I just look them dead in the face. It's like she's a puppy killer, and the look of reality has just smacked them in the face like a fucking brick. Is actually priceless every time I do that. And they're like, "But she's this, like she's a puppy killer."
She's a puppy killer. Who cares?
Don't give a shit. Justify that to me. Justify to me why a puppy killer is cool. And they can't do it.
And honestly, okay, the way you can actually get around some no-kill rule for the hero is the villains, especially if they're gluttonous, evil pricks, they're going to King of the Hill each other.
Yeah.
Cough, uplift protocol, cough.
Well, just put more simply, Superman needs to have the no-kill rule, or else he's terrifying.
Yes, he's absolutely frightening.
I mean, you weren't here for it, but we were reading scenes from this the story Kat and I are writing, and I address the whole no-kill rule with a Superman type character. And I think people really liked the answer that I had given, because I debate that in one of the early chapters. Hold on, I have to go get it so I can quote it.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, no kill rules. And plus, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. You're not going to hear this very often on stream, so I'm going to say it. Killing's easy to do. And what's worse is you can learn to live with it. And the minute your heroes start doing it, each next one becomes even easier. And you then go from a hero, because Frank Castle's a great protagonist. He's not a great hero.
No.
He's a great protagonist. Not a great hero. But
Oh, hey, Draco, just to tell you, that's the reason why I don't have Star Kill. Because guess what? Her dad has had to kill people in his military career. It would be frightening with someone with her skill set to be able to whoosh whoosh kill everybody. He had to build her up to be able to kill evil's constructs made out of materials and evil magic, you know?
Well, actually, that's one of the speeches I think in the Timverse, and I'm sure it's in one of the comic books too for Batman. Is somebody asked him, it's like, "What are you afraid to kill?" And he's like, "No, actually, I'm afraid it'll become easy." And it's like,
Yeah.
thank you. That's that's awesome. That he brought that up. So
And when I made Star, I didn't want her to be a 1-for-1 for Superman, but in my mind, I would think somebody that has some of his skill set in terms of powers, especially if they're female, would balk at doing certain kinds of killing actions because it wouldn't come naturally. Even more so for a male hero.
Well,
Okay.
Neostar asked, "Did anyone watch Superman versus the Elite?" Yes, I actually like that one.
Yeah,
And
we own it.
mhm.
And yep,
have-
that's my favorite. And people who dislike Superman hate it. Or if they
Okay.
don't understand Superman, they hate it.
Here's the scene now where they're discussing Globus. Grant Globus is the Luthor stand-in, okay? And Superion is obvious who that's supposed to be. Globus is an evil man, Miss Oshii. This is something I know better than anyone. Then end it now. Superion just stared at her with a stony silence. Put an end to the madness. Bridget slammed her fist against the inch-thick bulletproof glass with a resounding thud. Fly over there right now and kill him. Miss Oshii, please calm yourself. What you're asking for is called murder, and I will never, never take a life. Not even the life of someone as evil as Grant Globus. Why? Because I'm not God, Miss Oshii. Even I have to obey the law. No, you choose to obey the law. If you're going to play policeman, then you have to accept that you're also judge and jury, and you are choosing to allow Globus to terrorize us. Miss Oshii, Superion let out a long, knowing sigh. Perhaps if I were the smartest man in the world, I would have answers to all your questions. But you're not the first to say these things, and I'm sure you won't be the last. But a man much wiser than me once said that it was fortunate that I was gifted with this power. That if a more complicated man with ambitions and longings and ideas about how the world should be, if that kind of man were to have my power, humanity would have no choice but to become slaves to his will. As for myself, the best I can say is I can only be who I am. That was my answer to that question.
I just sorry.
What?
I just saw something on Amazon that makes me want to vomit. No. It goes.
She wants to vomit on Amazon.
No. It's one of those books that like comes with comic book templates where it has the boxes there and you can just fill in the blank and it's your own private little this is my comic book. This thing is fucking called Blank Comic Book for Girls. Large blank comic books. Draw your own for girls. Like, why do girls need to have their own fucking blank book?
Because your little lady brains can't handle normal blank books.
Drawing and doodling comics, anime, and manga. Like, I hate you so fucking much.
Daniel Montgomery hit it.
Take the opportunity to offer one of the most adorable gifts to that special girl. It's like, oh God. Like, I want to vomit now. I really do.
When my daughter really started drawing, I went out and bought her various art books, everything from classical art to manga, and a bunch of drawing tablets, and a painter's easel and some paint.
There you go. You're
and then I said, when you graduate high school, you can go to college and take art classes. She enjoyed herself and she likes art.
See, that's awesome. You're a good dad.
I try.
Now, I think the reason why killing makes more sense for somebody like Solomon Kane is because he doesn't have Superman's level of powers, nor does he need Superman's level of restraint, because he's not that kind of character. Solomon Kane, I do think, is a paragon of sorts, but not a moral paragon. Like, not in the same way Superman is. Like, Because I gotta keep expanding that article I did on my blog about that stuff. Because you can have different kinds of paragon archetypes, but they encompass a different kind of sphere. But a lot of the old pulps understood this. They went side by side with what most people would call cathartic motivational nowadays, but they had all sorts of heroes that ran all along across the gamut. It wasn't just anti-hero after anti-hero after anti-hero after anti-hero. Oh my god. uh Now everybody wants to be the Punisher. Well, when everybody's the Punisher, what will stand out? Nothing.
The thing about Solomon Kane is he also has a very rock solid set of rules
Yeah.
that he will never defy.
Yep. It just boggles my mind sometimes. Like, again, everybody, I understand you want to be the next X, Y, or Z, but you know how a lot of these things became big is because they built themselves up over time. That's the reason why all these crazy people want to tear down all these IPs into nothing.
They want a really good thing is I knew somebody who wanted to be a writer, and they released one book on Amazon, right? They wrote their magnum opus. They released one book on Amazon and then got mad because nobody bought their book. And he's like, well, I think I'm better than Tolkien. I'm like, well, Tolkien's books sold slowly at first and then were breakout.
Yeah.
Well, what about Game of Thrones? I was like, that fat fuck has been writing since like the 70s.
Yeah.
And he also wrote the worst parts of that Beauty and the Beast thing with Sarah Connor.
Yeah. Oh,
yep. He deconstructed.
That was him. That was him.
Yes,
oh
he helped write. He helped write Vincent's deconstruction.
Oh my god!
And they want it right now, but they don't want to put in they think they should get it right now with one book and just their friends knowing about it.
Yeah.
And I'm terrible at self promotion. I am absolutely horrible at self promotion.
Yeah, that's not going to happen overnight, people. I was tickled pink when I found out that even what I'm doing with Upload Pro Girl right now has at least 40 to 50 readers, but it didn't happen overnight. I've been writing it for over 2 years now, and putting it to the blog. So, yeah.
Let's see. I released it 3 hours ago. 6,200 people have read it.
Right, you released a book?
No, a chapter.
Oh, a chapter.
Yeah. I'm winding everything down and closing everything off, and somebody's looking for somebody else, and it's one of the last few. Yeah, I'm down to like less than a dozen different plot threads that need to be tied up.
Mark, you say basically stories nowadays say who needs moral compass when you have powers? Well, if you look at leftism, they don't believe in good and bad. And when there is no such good and bad, when there is no right or wrong, all there is power. And if you notice, that's all leftists fucking talk about. How often do your feminists power this, power that, power? That's all they talk about. You never hear about compassion. You never hear about empathy, charity, honor.
And no matter what people who enjoy Snyder say, I put Snyder in that same bucket.
I've got a scene where one of the immortals was going to crack a planet that had 8.2 billion humans as prisoners on it. It was more humans than they thought still existed. And, a guy named, Daxon the Walking War Crime is telling the other guy, don't planet crack it. And he's like, well, why not? I'm just freeing them from torment. And it ends up in this huge argument and fight because, he was like, oh, I have the power to planet crack it and not have to, engage in combat and, take a year to clear the planet. And, these people are just being tormented anyway. So I can just planet crack it and move on and nobody will care because nobody knew these people existed before I found this system. And it was like, I can do it, so I should be able to. And it's like, no, you need to slow your roll here. This is more humans than we thought existed anymore. And you just want to wipe them out? Why not? He had the power to do it. He didn't see anything wrong with it. And I know people that would be on his side.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, Well,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are hitting
Project Superpowers is worth looking at. I agree.
the hour and a half mark. I think it's time to call it an evening. But before we go, first off, everybody, all of my books and Roltz's books are available in the description below. Links to everything.
And where can people find Fiona?
You could look for Fiona Wolf 2 on Bird Side of Hell, and the link to Uplift Protocols there as well. It's all a work in progress on my blog.
Are you putting it in the chat?
Oh no, I was putting up. On Twitter that I completed the chapter. I forgot to do that today. Just remembered it when I looked at Twitter. I was like, oh shit.
Well,
Bird
this was
smart.
this was a very, very interesting show and fun to talk about. Thank you for joining us, you two, and have a good night, everybody.
Yeah. Good night.
Bye-bye.